hello, everybody. This is a podcast that, well, we haven't decided a name on yet, but I'm quite sure we'll do something. The Two and a Half Musketeers, the One Musketeer, and who knows, who knows. But anyway, introducing who is on today's podcast. Well, I'm going to leave myself till last, but I will introduce Joe. Joe, do you want to say hello?
Hi everybody, I'm Joe, and I've known John for, it'd be a couple of years, when I used to deliver board games to his house, and he would feverishly wait out the front for the board game to arrive like a 5-year-old on Christmas morning.
I think that was more to keep you out of my house to see what I had. I think was more might have been the worry.
Absolutely.
Yes, Dana.
Hello. John and I met probably a few years ago now. I think it was a few years
Yeah,
ago, and you
it's the
bought
sale of Raptor.
and once again bought in the acquisition of board games. You bought a board game off of me, and I remember when I saw you. Actually, you had less hair than what you do now.
Well, I
But
haven't had a shave. That's why. Haven't
and
shaved my bald.
Black
Yep.
market of board game trade going on
and I
here.
remember we had a good yarn, and I thought I need to keep in touch with this man. And there we go.
And you've regretted it ever since, haven't you? Yes.
On occasion.
Yes. And for everybody else who is listening into this, I am John. I have known these delightful people for a couple of years now, and we just threw it out a couple of board game meets ago. We said, how about we do a podcast? I think it was mainly because I think I spotted that YouTube had a function to put podcasts up. So I thought, oh, I'll give it a try and see what happens. So what we will do in today's podcast is we're going to have a look at games that we have played twice, and the reason why we've decided to play it twice. So it could be, well, I'll give my example. I really had a very poor opinion of Architects, and nearly everybody I spoke to said, you're very silly. It's actually a very, very good game. And at the last LXG, I got to play Architects. And who won, Joe?
Oh, look, I think Karen won, but it was only by a point.
The points were very, very close.
Very
They
close
were
to
quite
Karen.
close indeed. But I found that the function that was in Architects that had made me dislike the game in the beginning, which was the jail mechanics, worked out to be not as daunting when played with people who aren't utter bastards. So, although I don't know, Carmen may have thought that I was being not a very nice person, considering I costed those victory points at the end by, I was just going
About
on a
5.
rampage, collecting everybody, throwing them in jail, and trying to get,
5 victory points.
reducing people's victory points. But yeah, I must admit, I always try to give games a second chance. Like Scythe's another game I really did not like the first time I played. Again, it was because of the group of people that I played with. They I think when you're vanquished, you go back to your starting area, and you can come back on as long as there's nobody in any of those provinces that are next to your province, your
home
sector
base.
from which,
I think
your
it's
home
your
base.
home
Thank
base.
you.
Yeah.
But again, I try to give games a second go. But Joe, what about yourself? Have
Yeah,
you?
it's a good one. Because I having played a couple of the more challenging ones, like a Lacerda game. I think my first one was Escape Plan, and as daunting as it was, it really looked like high quality. Kind of a little bit easier to get into, and you're really really excited. You've heard nothing but the best out of Lacerda. You sit down and you have a look at the quality of the components, you get right into the game, and then you kind of go, oh gee, I don't know if this game is for me. and I wasn't sure. I left that game a bit miffed about, could it have played out differently? You started off a little bit individually, but there was nothing sinister in there, and I really didn't. And it wasn't, you can dislike games for that purpose that you raise, John, in the fact that people lock you out in area control games, or it gets quite competitive for resources. But in this game, it was relatively linear on how we played. It was a bit of a teach, but I still felt that the game really didn't do it for me. So I left at the end of it a bit disappointed about it. And it wasn't until maybe 9 months later, at a good friend of mine, he had his birthday and got a copy, that we played it, and the outcome was very, very different. There were a lot of laughs around the table. The interactions were very different, and it kind of, adds to the flavor that sometimes a good board game becomes a great board game just simply from the group of people that you play it. And you can't replace those interactions, I don't think. You've got to be at the table, and somebody might be having a bad day and others might be having a good day, but I genuinely feel that with some of those board games that you might leave a bit worried about, is always give them a second go, and but be selective about who you play them with in that regard.
Yeah,
And
I think that
Mm.
certainly is critical. I think is the group of people you play with as to how successful a game can be. What about you, Dana?
Well, actually, I was just thinking about a couple of games that I've played, and one of them is Quacks of Quedlinburg. Now, when I first played that game, I actually played it with my family, and I now realise this, that you really shouldn't play a game with a family that are non-gamers. It's really not a good idea to test a game like that. And everybody had talked about this game, and it has a cool theme. It's witches, and you're drawing tokens and out of a bag, and everybody's doing things all at the same time. So it's people aren't waiting for their turn. And I should say that my children are teenagers, but they're still incredibly impatient and annoying. But I played that game with my family, and I taught them how to play it, and it was just really dreadful. Actually, I hated it. It was horrible. And it just didn't go well at all. Nobody listened to the rules, etc., etc. So, but since then, I have played it with another group of gamers, other people who appreciate the rules and appreciate the little strategies involved in picking different tokens and things like that. And the nuances, that's it, the nuances of the game. And I think, oh my God, it's such a different game than it is playing with children. And actually, I've had a lot of games where I have tried to introduce it to my family first, and it has gone really badly. And some of them, when I think about it now, I've actually sold the games because I hated it so much. It was such a dreadful experience. But looking back,
did you give it a second go?
Looking back on it, I probably should have kept them and realised it was actually my family.
Oh dear!
Hopefully, they're not listening to the podcast.
No, they won't listen to this. They won't be taking this to their therapist in 20 years' time, going, "Look, this is what my mother's been like." But no. But okay, so while that's good in the fact that we've looked at obviously playing it a second time and it's been given a positive outcome, have you played a game a second time and then went, "Nope, I'll never play this one again"? Dana? Have you come across that?
So we've played it first, didn't like it, and played it a second time?
You might have, you were indifferent perhaps with the first time, or you never got to complete the game, or, have you played a game a second time and went, no, there is absolutely nowhere, like, for instance, if you turn up, say, to Board Game BBQ or say LXG, and you've been roped in to play a game that not, it's not one of your favourites, but you've played it a second time and you've gone, nope, I'll never play that again.
Yes. Well, when I first got into gaming, actually was you know what games really appealed to me were the zombie side type games. I thought that sounds so cool, just shooting up all these
Yep.
zombies, and I thought it sounds so exciting. And I have a friend who is very into zombie side because of the miniature painting and
Yep.
things like that. Anyway, I played it once, which was just the original version, and I remember, like, it's one of those games where I was just sort of looking at the clock, really.
Hoping that they
I
would
found it.
hurry up.
Yeah, I just found it so
Are we done yet?
uninteresting. I thought, what are we even doing here? And actually, we ended up cheating to try and move the game along.
Dear.
And
No table flip, eh?
no. Anyway, I played it because she enjoys it and she
Yeah.
likes to show off her
Yep.
nicely painted miniatures. So I'm happy to play it. And since then, I have played it again, and I found the the same ticking clock thing happening again. And I thought, I really just don't like this game, and I'm so glad that I did not back this on Kickstarter because I just did not enjoy it. When I play a game, I like there to be some sort of mental challenge. I don't find Zombicide has any mental challenge whatsoever, and so it just leaves me wanting. I just don't enjoy it at all.
What about you, Joe?
Well, I've got a couple. So probably, one of the ones for me is Anachrony. I've played that a couple of times, and it just didn't do it for me the first time. A lot of people go, how, and it's a Mind Clash game, and it's like, and it never really got. And I don't know whether it was the initial group, and then the second time a completely different group. But again, the game didn't captivate me. So I kind of I don't own it, which is good, and it's but I'm reluctant to kind of play it a third time. My other one is a little bit different. It's games that you might have do a teach on. So you've played the game pretty well, you know the rules. And mine is Age of Steam. So again, it's probably I think Dana and John, you both were at me with me at that game, and it had a combination of family in it, but gee, it was a hard teach. And I kind of left that unsure as to I ever wanted to teach Age of Steam again, and secondly, it became quite clear that the people who didn't like it preferred to take over the teaching of the game, and
so we're saying in future Dana should do all teachers.
Well, I don't mind, but just as long as Dana doesn't have a sister like in it. And look, Age of Steam is one of those games. I just love train games. They're so much fun, but you try not to go bankrupt in the first round, and then
well, actually, that was interesting because that was one of the things that because we played that Sidereal Confluence at LXG the other meet, and Tony, I can remember saying is that you don't spend everything, or otherwise you might have some problems. It was like it'll never happen, but it might. I just love that comment from him, was that it was very interesting. But
that
as
was
for
a cracking
myself,
game. That was a cracking game. It was a great game. It was cracking.
It was. It was. Dana, were you there for that one?
Tangent. Yes, it was a great game.
Yes.
I was going to butt in as well and say that I really enjoyed that game. I would never teach it because you need to be extremely patient.
I think there's a lot of nuances, and I think you really only pick the game up as you start to play through the first round, I think. Because I think it's a difficult concept in some cases to try and explain, particularly that business with trading and then upgrading the cards and everything else that went with Sidereal. So, but no, a good game. Do we think it's as good as the States, Joe? Is it something that will make you friends and influence people?
No, definitely. Well, that's a good point because I've played that twice now, and I certainly did not enjoy them either time, and I think Tony absolutely loves it, and I won't break his spirit on that one, but I won't be playing the Estates again. Sorry, Tony. But Mr. John, you will have it in your collection because you love it. So
Oh, look, I'll end up with it one way or the other. I'll wait for one of you to sell your copy if you've got one floating around. You know, I'm the perpetual vulture waiting for people. You know, like I know Dana's eventually going to get rid of that copy of Dwellings of Eldervale that she's got sitting just gathering dust on her shelf. Aren't I, Dana?
Actually, I noticed the water is tasting a bit funny.
Oh, we've lost her
I
already.
hadn't been feeling well the last couple of days.
Oh,
oh dear.
okay, okay. That
What
sounds
have
like
you been up
we
to?
won't discuss this topic. Fair enough.
Yeah, change the topic.
Oh dear, but look, to me, I honestly can't recall a game that I've played and been convinced never to play it again at this stage. I guess for me, playing games is more the interaction with other people. Because I know that when I go around to Dana's place to play, I think we spend most of our time gossiping, don't we? And occasionally we take a
Yeah.
turn in between, and it's
Yes, yeah,
you know
that is very
it's
true. It's all about the food, the cheese,
oh
lunch.
cheese. I've never been a cheese happy. Well, I've not been a cheese eater except for that. What was that orange cheese that we had at Nick's place?
Red Leicester.
Thank you. I've decided I do like that, but I'm assuming it's also an expensive cheese.
Well, it's not too bad. It's not too
Hmm.
bad.
Yeah,
Well, look,
Isn't that just
all cheese is
yeah.
expensive. Actually, it's more
mm,
than buying lunch. Is a cheese platter costs more than just buying lunch. So
Oh
yeah,
dear.
but oh God, God bless
Fair enough.
cheese.
Fair enough.
yeah,
All
cheese.
right. Well, what we might look at now is what are some of the games that we've played in the last week. So we all go to LXG, and for those who are trying to wonder out what it is, that's the League of Extraordinary Gamers. They meet down at the Contracted Bridge Club at Woolloongabba. And I think the first meet that I actually got to get to this year, I think they had about 70 odd people there for that day. It was a
Good
really
turnout.
really good,
Mm.
and I think the one that was last Sunday was a well, I'd say almost half the size, but I think that was because they had both the meets back to back. So I'm not sure how convenient that was. But what have um, what have you played in the last week or two that you found particularly exciting that you haven't played before, Dana?
Look, to be honest, I have not played a lot in the last week because I've been stuck at home with my daughter, my youngest daughter, with COVID. Um, but on Sunday, on the weekend, actually no, Saturday and Sunday, I played two new games last Saturday and Sunday.
Right.
The first one I played was a game called Terracotta Army,
Oh, wow.
and
What's that?
it's only just recently come
Mm.
out. Um, I I think it's still up for pre-order for the most part, but it was a wonderful game. I actually really enjoyed it, and actually not a difficult game at all.
Mm.
Um, the designer is, oh God, I can't even pronounce some of the names, but one of them is it Adam Kwapinski? Adam Kwapinski? Does that ring a bell? Anyway,
It
one of the
does. Yep.
designers of Nemesis.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Um, anyway, but it's got this lovely little action selection wheel. What do you call that again when you've got a wheel?
A decision wheel.
Yeah,
Was it a
no,
decision wheel or was
no,
it
no, no. Like a
a
wheel,
roundel? Like a
rondelle.
roundel?
Yeah,
Rondel.
rondelle.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's got this rondelle that you can move, and it's got three little rings that you can move to choose
Mm.
your actions, and then you're trying to build these statues, these supposedly terracotta statues, into this forum, and there are points for where you place these statues, adjacency bonuses and things like that. And actually, it played really well. We played with 4 players, and actually, it was quite quick. I don't know whether it's just our group because we talk too much or something. I'm not really sure.
No,
But
never that.
but you could play. I think you could play 2 players in an hour. It was very good, and it was nice and crunchy.
So was it a race to victory points, or was it like games over after 4 turns or something like that?
No,
Can you remember?
there's a specific set number of rounds, and the game
Right.
ends at the end of
Oh, that's good.
there's 5 rounds,
Right.
and there are different end of round goals plus other ways to score points as well.
Mhm.
It's not your only way, and yeah, and then that's the end of the game. But I actually think it would be really good at 2, just to break out. But I thought it was really good. The components were quite nice, like the little terracotta army figurines are, the grey plastic ones that you could paint if you wanted to. So they were quite good as well. And it comes actually with this really cool little box to put your terracotta army soldiers into, so that when you buy one, it becomes like a dispenser. And you can just grab it rather than having all these soldiers laying all over the table.
Everywhere.
It actually comes with that in the box, which is really nice as well. So that was I really enjoyed that.
So you'd give that a thumbs up.
Definitely, I loved it. Loved it.
On my wish list for sure.
I
Joe.
did play. I did play
sorry.
another
Keep
game.
going, Dana. I was cutting you off then. What was your other one?
Sorry, I did play another game as well. With the same group, actually. I played Weather Machine, which I had not played before. So that's a Vital Lacerda game. And that was a really steep learning curve for me. Look, I have played one other Lacerda game, but I don't think I played it terribly well, and I really don't think I knew the rules very well. So I wouldn't even say I've actually played one before. All of us, this was actually a learning game for the 4 people to play. So neither of us had really played it before. So we were all sort of helping each other out, really. We often helped each other on our turns, etc. But, you're this scientist trying to stop natural disasters from happening, and you're trying to cure the weather, so to speak, and you're running experiments and things like that. To learn the game, when I learn a game, I normally have it out in front of me so that I can see it and then watch a video. And that's what I would usually do. But my copy, which I wasn't planning on breaking open yet, was still in plastic. And I thought, I'll just watch a video. I'll be fine. Oh, my God. It was so bloody complicated. Far out, man. It was like hours. It was like studying trigonometry for me. So.
But then that's his style of game, isn't it?
It is.
It tends to be very intricate.
Yes, they are. It is very intricate. But I can see how clever he must be to create these games, because they are very clever. And, once you understand the game and you understand the iconography, it's a very good game. But I think that's what would turn me off and a lot of other people off those types of games, is the learning curve. Yeah. And then if you ever wanted to play, let's just say, for example, yourself and myself had played and Joe hadn't, I've got to teach the whole thing again. And then the learning curve then, it's almost like the kind of games I'd like to play if I just had a regular group and we all knew how to play and then we could play it.
So like trying to play Twilight Imperium.
Correct.
That's a great game now that you've mentioned.
But you don't want to teach it every time.
And that sadly is the problem if you've got new people coming in with that particular game.
Did I mention Age of Steam? I once did it.
He's not going to leave that one go.
No.
But, all right, Dana. So shall I go see what Joe has to tell us?
Yep.
What was new for you, Joe?
For me was a solo game called Coffee Roasters.
Cool.
So I played 2 or 3 of those back to back, and it might appear a bit light, and you are randomly drawing beans out to kind of make your roast. But I think it's well put together. That's a Sashi game, and I think all the little tokens and the insert tray that you get kind of make it a nice little game. I think it would travel well because it doesn't take up a huge amount of space, and you could unpack it very quickly and kind of have a few rounds, and then adjust the difficulty rating as you progress through the kind of a string of legacy type elements to it, so you can progressively make it a little bit more challenging as you pull out coffee roast types that you might get. So it might be, for example, you've got a Colombian dark roast that you've got to try and put together, and there's these flavoring notes that you're randomly drawing out, and you kind of similar mechanic to quacks, when you got to push your luck and you kind of go, oh, here's another one. Oh, if I get one more of these, it's gonna ruin the flavor of the coffee, or too much acidity, etc. So it can be uh, um, it might look relatively basic and unappealing, but it's definitely one that I would recommend if you are new to board gaming and you wanted to kind of venture into something that is solo oriented, but not banal in that element. So I really enjoyed that one, and I've played it 3 times since, because you can knock it over in half an hour. And the teach itself, the instruction book, isn't the best, but you can download an updated version of it and print it to supplement it. But it is a good fun little game. The other one was a Kickstarter. So my problem, as with most of the listeners, likely, is that you get sucked into Kickstarters, and like me, you organise a lot of Kickstarters, and they arrive, and then they never get unpacked. So I'm just looking at my Kallaxes here, and I kind of go Kickstarter, 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 Kickstarter. So I've got a lot of them. So this time I actually was brave enough, and I cracked one open, and that was Distilled. So I did a bit of a solo teach of Distilled. It was one of maybe the third or fourth Kickstarter that I invested in, and it didn't disappoint. So the quality of the components, just the games trays and the inserts, how it's all been put together, and the mechanics, and I like it because and I'm sure that when we play it out with 5 people, um, it gives you that element of you're trying to make a particular type of spirit and take it to market and sell it. So it's got that element of economy. The interactions and the mechanics are all nicely streamlined. And so I've seen a few posts of people saying that they had a bit of a play on, I think, BGA or TTS when it was open in its testing phase, and subsequently it's even better now since it's landed. So I'm looking forward to taking that to LXG and giving it a bit of a spin next time. So yeah, it's you collect ingredients from the marketplace. You've got basics right up to premium and kind of like signature type blends. Mix it all together and then take it to market, make money, and the idea is to kind of make the most amount of money. So I'm just trying to think which board game it kind of will remind you of a little bit of viticulture, maybe, where you go around and kind of do certain things, but
Must be good then. Has to be
yeah,
good.
yeah, but
we
but yeah, I think, and I think it it's nicely made. It looks appealing, um, and the Kickstarter version came with marketplace mat and stuff like that. So they did a really great job on production on that one. So they're probably mine. How about you, Mr. John? What did you get up to?
Well, for me, look, my memory's dodgy at the best of time, but the one that really stands out the most was when I went round to Dana's and played First Rat.
First
I love
rat.
That
that game.
was an awesome game. It was simple. The idea that you're picking up cheese as part of, your cheese is part of the economy, and you're trying to build a spaceship to take you to the moon, which is made of cheese. And so you're moving along a track, and there was I could recall that there were two areas where you could either spend cheese to buy the tokens, or you could be an absolute rat, grab one of them and pay nothing, but go back to the start. And to be honest, I really didn't see much of a penalty for that, because you really needed to, I think you really needed to steal
You did, yeah.
to go back so that you could slowly start moving ahead.
Mm.
And it was just it was really, really nice. It was things like, for your rocket propulsion you needed baking soda, beans, and I can't remember
Vinegar,
what, and
baking
vinegar.
soda and vinegar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was your rocket propulsion, and the next stage needed a calculator. And can you remember what it was, Dana?
There is like a little calculator, a control
Yeah,
pad,
sorry, it
control
was
pad, little
yeah, it was a
control pad.
calculator and something else, but it was
Yeah.
just a really nice concept. And you could actually build multiple sections of the rocket. So you could have built all three. Built yourself three rockets, never go to the moon, but you're earning points. And it's one of those ones where I think it's the first person who builds it goes into the first slot, which gives you more victory points, I think, than the person. Was it, or was it the number of victory points by the number of people you had in there?
No,
Honestly,
no,
I
no, no, no. It's the first person who arrives there gets the most victory points.
gets
But
the most, and it then
then
just means
you're you're in some ways costing yourself points because you're not meandering up
yeah.
the pathway. So
But it was a really, really nice game. I liked it. It was, yeah. I'm just thinking, which I'm there going, I really need that to add into my collection. So I'm just looking at how much time we've spent having a natter. So what I might do to end off today's podcast is, what is a game that you are really keen to see appear at your doorstep without your partner knowing that you've gone and spent money again?
Ooh.
Joe, Joe,
Ooh.
is there a game you're
Yeah.
really keen to get?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's Voidfall. So it's
oh,
a Kickstarter that we've had, backed for a long time now. But if you like Eclipse, if you like Twilight Imperium, and you like the 4X type thing, then Voidfall is the one that I'm most keen this year to kind of hit the doorstep. Absolutely. Um, but I'm always getting games in, and one of the ones that will arrive soon is Railways of the World. So that's the re-implementation of Martin Wallace's original Railroad Tycoon. So hoping to get that to.
Was that the one Tony was talking about?
I think it was Karen. Karen had brought it along to
All
LXG,
right.
but
Yep.
yeah. Yeah. Train games are really fun,
Yep.
and economic games are really fun for me. But they're probably the two that I'm very very keen to
Mm.
arrive
Yep.
ASAP. Yeah.
Well, I did see you get very excited when you saw Hegemony.
Well, that's gotten a lot of attention lately. So that was interesting because it was a bit of a challenge to try and get a group buy together. There were only about five that kind of joined in, and it didn't seem overly appealing. But yes, it arrived. It looks like a behemoth. There's lots of cards, lots of stuff, but people have been posting excellent reviews of it, and really having a lot of fun playing it. And Karen opened up her copy of it at LXG last Sunday, and the component quality was better than I had expected. So I'm really glad that I backed it. It's probably a bit of a surprise for me on that one, but it's not going to be sold, definitely. And who
looks.
knows when they'll
I
take it
did
out of
see
plastic.
I did see the Dice Tower doing a quick review on it, and when I saw it, I thought, oh my god, it looks like work. It looks like that's what it actually looked like. It's like a full book There's like a full study guide.
There is.
So
Yeah, the supporting
All right,
material.
that sounds good. What about you, Dana? What are you hoping will sneak in through the front door?
oh my god, I'm looking at this list and I'm thinking, is that how many I've bought?
No, you don't say that. Your husband might eventually watch this video.
I hope not. Don't tell him.
But what is one that you're looking forward to that has either got a lot of hype or you think's got potential to?
Look, I haven't. Probably the one that I'm most keen, and this is only because of the toy quality, the toy component of it. Is this game called Steam Up? And you're Steam Up, and you're running like a dim sim restaurant or dim sum restaurant, and it's got these gorgeous little steam boxes with all the ingredients on, and I think there's even like little rotating things, and it's basically like being in an Asian restaurant, and everything, all the little ingredients are all plastic, molded plastic, and I think some of them are even rubber. And so I'm just looking forward to holding the piece.
So the bling factor is what you're looking forward to, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
So that was a Kickstarter.
That's been on
and had 8,267 backers and raised over 580,000 Canadian dollars. So that was crazy.
Yeah, it was very, very popular, but it looks really cool, just from the toy factor side of things.
Yeah.
The other ones that I look at on my list, I think, are unlikely to arrive anytime soon, unfortunately. But I'm thinking that one's going to be close.
Fair enough. Well, I was watching Liz from Beyond Solitaire, and she was showing a game called Joan of Arc Orleans, and it's a draw and write game that looks really interesting. It's based on it has, I guess, mechanics that come from Orleans, but you're basically playing Joan of Arc, and it just really appealed to me just from a historical point of view and that. But that looked really interesting because I thought when it was shown as a draw and write, I thought, oh, excellent, I'll probably be available as a download somewhere. But no, it's actually a physical copy that you need to purchase from wherever it is. But that certainly looked really, really appealing, and I will have to keep my eye out on that. But of course, I'm always a very weak person because when I come round to Dana's place or Joe brings something or my friends turn up with extra, new games, John's going, that'd look really good on my shelf. I think it should just stay here with me where it'll be protected and safe. You'll never see it again. I'll release that vicious dog of mine. That'll he'll lick you to death, won't he?
Oh, Mr. Pippin.
Maltese are renowned for being vicious. Yes.
Yeah. So.
But your elusive one would have to be Dwellings of Eldervale.
Yes, look, I know where there's two copies, and I know the people. They're very good friends of mine, and I'm quite sure that they'll eventually get sick and tired of it sitting on their shelf.
Never.
But the problem will be is that I'll probably then acquire it and nobody will play it again. So it seems to be the way things go. But all right, well, we'll try to keep this just under 45 minutes rather than, I guess, waffle for too much, which is what I'm very good at. But look, thank you very much, Joe. Thank you, Dana, for participating in our inaugural Let's Get Together for a Chinwag. We'll certainly not have Carmen show that little video about Rude Jude from Charleville. She was 73. Yeah, she's 73. She apparently went to the Melbourne Comedy Festival. One of the radio stations, I think, had her go down. So, but
who
yes,
are we talking about? Who are we talking
hasn't Carmen shown you that little video about Rude Jude and her shop out in Charleville? That's it's a bait and tackle shop as well as an adult shop.
Oh, how convenient!
Well,
in Charleville it is.
It was I think it was Will and Woody. for anybody who's listening to that. I think you can find that on YouTube, and you just look for
Oh,
Rude Jude. She's 73, and her story about the mouse tattoo and the pussy that ate it was hilarious. But that'll be the rudest thing that I'll probably say for tonight. So,
oh God.
all right, everybody. Look, thank you very much, and we will hopefully get together. We'll see if we can get Carmen or Fee or any of the other people we know to join us in future ones. I don't know how often we will make this, but we'll see how successful we are.
No,
So,
it's been
let
fun.
us know what
Thank
you
you
think.
very much.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
fun.
okay, Joe. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank
All right.
you.
Good evening.
Bye.
Bye.